like the idea that a voice can just go somewhere
uninvited, like a dirty thought in a nice clean mind.
Welcome back to the Liberal Lens here on Planet Politic News. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Go on Instagram and Facebook and follow. And today we're talking about how Trump is implementing Project 2025 and how they have started since day one. All right. I know it's been out there for a long time about Project 2025, and the Trump administration has been screaming that they know nothing about it. And Trump said he's never even read it, which I believe, but that doesn't mean they're not implementing it, because we all know that Stephen Miller is kind of de facto running the government, because we know that Trump isn't reading press briefings or anything like that. And everything going on with him medically now probably even makes it worse. But we had heard all about this in his first term, how they had to break it down to less than one page on the briefings and he wouldn't read anything. So we know, okay, so Trump probably didn't read it, but he also did do a fundraiser or did a speech at a fundraiser for the Heritage Foundation where he talked about Project 2025 and how it was going to be the blueprint for his second term in office. And then when it got some heat, all of a sudden, like Trump, he changes stories and doesn't know what anybody's talking about. But we're going to go through some of the stuff in Project 2025 that they've already implemented or tried to implement, just to show how much they'll lie to the American people, how they don't know anything about Project 2025. If you haven't read it, it's like 900 pages. Go check it out. It's wild. It took me a while to read through it when it first came out. But as I was reading through it, I was posting every day something that was coming from Project 2025. And people thought I was nuts. And a lot of it has happened, or they have tried to and been stopped. So let's go through a little bit of what I'm talking about. And we'll just start with one of the big areas in Project 2025, which is civil service federal worker reform. This was a big thing in Project 2025. They want to reform hiring, firing rules, restrict civil service protections, and shift many of the policies and operational functions to policy appointees. So what they are saying is they want to take away the protection of the federal worker, and they want to have it be appointees, where it would be federal appointees who are loyalists to the president, because we know Trump has been doing this since the beginning. He wants everything to be loyalist to him. He's starting his own law enforcement agency called ICE. Yes, they have been there before for a long time, but the way he has reformed it, it is becoming his own personal law enforcement agency. So what has the Trump administration done? Well, when they first got into office, they moved quickly to issue executive orders, directives aimed at reorganizing agencies, reducing protections for federal employees, and installing more political loyalist appointees. Exactly what we talked about, right? That's how they get there. They're going to go in and they're just going to try to destroy the status quo of the agencies, their protections, and put in loyalists to the administration, not loyalists to the United States or to the Constitution. They want the employees to be loyalists to Trump, not the American people, which we have seen with Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, so on and so on and so on. All right, then we get to the big one that everybody was upset about when it first came out. On the right, they were really upset, pounding the table about DEI, because they have no idea what DEI really is, or the groups of people that it really helps the most. So the two groups that DEI absolutely help the most, more than anybody, women and military veterans. This is what they don't understand. They were upset, and because they're racist, they thought it was about race issues, when it is about diversity, equality, and inclusion. And the people who it benefits the most, these laws, are women and military veterans. So what did Project 2025 say about DEI? Well, they want to eliminate DEI programs in the federal government, remove federal support for any gender ideology, remove references to gender equality from federal contracts and grants, use military National Guard for border enforcement, sharply reducing refugee admissions, restricting asylum, aggressively deporting, strengthening border walls. Okay, we have seen these walls be scaled, and we have seen that these walls are a joke, but that's one thing. Maybe they should worry about the tunnels before they worry about the walls, but whatever. So what was the Trump administration's response since they don't have any part of Project 2025, or they don't know what it is? The Trump administration issued orders rescinding DEI related mandates from contractors, federal agencies, eliminating or restructuring offices concerned with DEI, reversing protections for transgender personnel in the military. The administration also deployed National Guard active duty forces to the border, suspended or reduced refugee admissions, took steps to restrict asylum or pathways. So we've seen all of this, and everything that they're doing with ICE right now is part of the blueprint, right? So many of the actions are illegal, being tried in court right now. And this goes back to a previous episode where we talked about how the Trump administration wants to throw so much shit at the court that it can't keep up with it, and some of it slides through. That is the whole reason that they're jamming up and clogging up our court systems with all this bullshit, because they figure if they jam it up and clog it up with enough of it, some of their bullshit will actually make it through. All right. So another one of the big things in Project 2025, now that we move past DEI and immigration and border enforcement, is agency restructuring or deregulation of agencies. So the Trump administration wants to overhaul the executive branch, shrinking or abolishing certain federal departments, including, if possibility, the Department of Education, shifting responsibilities to states and local governments, removing regulatory regimes, and reducing federal role in many policy arenas. Okay, so they want to get rid of a bunch of federal workers. So what did the Trump administration do? Well, early in the term, Trump included a large batch of executive orders and directives aimed at deregulating agencies, restructuring agencies, shifting responsibilities, and reducing overall federal oversight, while firing or laying off thousands of workers. Now, some of this has been tried in court, some of this has been overruled, but this is the stuff, again, they're talking about. We didn't know anything about Project 2025. Project 2025 isn't real. Well, let's keep it going. So if Project 2025 isn't real, let's see what it says about education now. So in Project 2025, it would be the elimination or greatly reducing the federal government's role in K through 12 and higher education, privatizing student loans, abolishing or reducing the size of the Department of Education, allowing easier switch for accredited agencies, and removing DEI from accreditations. So they don't want DEI to be involved in accrediting or whatever. So women, military, okay, we went through this. So the administration, what they have done since, they didn't read Project 2025 and it has nothing to do with their administration. The administration has signed and signaled moves in the direction of making accredited rules looser, so fake colleges like Trump University could get accredited instead of being sued, undermining DEI standards in higher education, and also in accrediting with DEI and higher education standards, pushing school choice agendas, and they're pushing these school choice agendas through fully abolishing the Department of Education, which has not occurred yet, but they have been attempting at every turn since the last administration. They were attempting, and they just keep going with it. But again, they didn't read Project 2025, and it has nothing to do with them. I mean, many of the recommended moves they have already started to implement, but there is still a lot they didn't. And a lot of them have been moved with executive order. And now they need Congress to back them to actually make them legal, because Trump has made a bunch of executive orders that aren't legal or enforceable without Congress. But he just goes up there and he does it for the cameras to make a big show of it. And when you're watching, half the time Trump doesn't even know what he's signing, because if you go through, past presidents explain to you exactly what they're signing. Not Trump. Somebody else in the room explains to the reporters what they're signing, and Trump looks completely lost and then just signs it. All right. So we're going to not go through all of Project 2025 because it's really in depth. And I mean, it's 900 pages. So if we're going to go through it, it'd be like a 7-day fucking podcast. But let's finish off with some foreign policy and international institutions. So what does Project 2025 say about these? It says withdraw or reduce participation in major international organizations like the World Health Organization, reduce foreign aid commitments, emphasizing sovereignty and America First nationalism. Okay. So Steve Bannon both admitted what American nationalists, which we all know is just AKA white nationalists, are a big part of Trump's administration and his sounding board and people he listens to. And I truly believe Stephen Miller has a big role in running the country, which people should be really scared of because there's videos going back to the crazy shit he has been saying since high school. All right. So what did the Trump administration do with any of this since they didn't read Project 2025? The administration has taken steps consistent with Project 2025 by withdrawing or threatening to withdraw from international bodies, reducing and retracting foreign aid flow, and emphasizing national sovereignty and foreign policy. So Trump's always like America first. The tariffs are for America first. I just did a video on the tariffs on how even companies who make products in the United States have to get raw materials from other countries. So that's how tariffs affect everyday American people, even on American made products. But you can go back and watch that video. But these are just a few things from Project 2025 that the Trump administration has been implementing since day one, but yet they never read Project 2025. They have no idea about Project 2025. And this is the shit we're supposed to believe. And I know I pound this point home on every video. They think we're fucking stupid. They think we are the stupidest people on the planet and that they can say whatever they want and we are just going to believe them. And it's because a group of Americans have fallen into that trap. Where if this administration says it, then they just believe it because they have Fox News echo chamber. They have guys like Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones and Steve Bannon and Ben Shapiro just pounding the airwaves, doubling down on Trump's lies and all the bullshit. And so it's so hard to sift through to get to the truth at times, especially if you're caught in that echo chamber. You got to get news sources from outside of everywhere. I watch Fox News and it turns my stomach, but I watch it at times because I have to see how crazy the right is being with the information they're giving to people. So I understand where I have to, kind of attack this from for people to understand that they're being lied to. Because if you turn on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, they always are spinning some bullshit and they're always trying to make it sound more complicated than it really is. So when you get down to the bones of it and the brass tacks of it all, it just boils down to some simple things usually, right? Like we go through what's going on in Project 2025. This isn't some like scheme that you have to be a fucking Rhodes Scholar to understand. Like they're really literally trying to destroy the government bit by bit so that they can seize more power for the executive branch. This is all just a power grab in Trump's dream to be a dictator. How many times has Trump talked about how great it would be to be a dictator and how great dictators have it and how he wants to be a dictator for one day? We know Trump wants to be a supreme ruler. If he didn't, we wouldn't have had these no king protests. And I know you're going to have MAGA going, you're protesting something that doesn't exist. They're protesting because somebody is trying to make it exist in a country that literally went to war and broke off from England because they didn't want to be part of the monarchy. So I don't know how else to explain that that's any simpler. Like we have a guy in the White House who wants supreme power, who wants to be a dictator, a king, whatever you want to call it. And would he be tearing down parts of the White House and building this hundreds of millions of dollars ballroom if he planned on leaving in 3 years? All right, just something to think about, guys. Thanks for all the support. You are supporting the shit out of us on Facebook. I love you for that. Please keep up the support. We love it. If you guys wouldn't mind, go over to YouTube, hit that subscribe, hit the notification bell, go over to Instagram, follow us on Instagram. It's all under Planet Politics News. So you just at Planet Politics News on any of these platforms and you will find us. And like I said, there's people who are coming. And I told you guys an episode or two ago that I was talking to a professor from Philadelphia. He is going to come on the show. And I'll just tell you this. His uncle, Neil deGrasse Tyson. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you keep supporting. And we love you, man. One world, one love. Deuces.
Everything's polluted. The environment, the government, the schools, you name it.
This radio person is the whole problem. Are we going to allow this guy to be heard by anyone who can turn a dial?
You out there? You listening?